Hola, bom dia, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Sorry, a bit late. I was just chatting with Debs behind the scenes there, our guest today, who, it has to be said, had a really terrible year in 2019. And really, it's sobering to realise that as happy homesteaders, as expats, immigrants, explorers, adventurers in a new country, you tend to focus on the upside and all the things you want to do and all the positives. But obviously, life happens. And things can get difficult, and the things we rather not think about come up. And that's exactly what I think happened with Debs, and she'll be telling us all about that and how she's turned the corner, I think, and I hope, on a very difficult year of bereavement and the flooding of the destruction of her home, basically. And she'll be telling us all about that and how she's turned the corner on that. And looking forward to a much better 2020 and 2021. Obviously, didn't see the pandemic coming either. But, oh, look at me, got my shirt open. Oh, what am I like? So, yeah, we'll be talking to Debs in just a while after we've had a look at the news and the weather. So very quickly with the weather, I'm just going to have a quick scroll through the Good Morning Portugal weather pages. I won't subject you to that because it's pretty complex and scrolly on the screen and not comfortable to look at. But just to let you know that it's looking good for the next couple of days. Lisbon, for example, a high of 27 today. A lovely day to look forward to tomorrow. And a bit of cloud heading towards those Lisboetas in the capital there for the rest of the week. So sunny day tomorrow, a little bit cloudy today. Porto, a similar picture, although sunny today and tomorrow with no rain on the horizon, it would appear, as we stand at the moment. So a high of 24 in Porto today. Aveiro 24 similarly. Let us go to other parts of the country. Castelo Branco, 29 glorious degrees and a cloudless day tomorrow with a 30-degree high. Coimbra today, 28-degree high, 26 degrees tomorrow with a cloudless sky predicted. Évora, 29 tomorrow. Faro, 28 tomorrow, cloudless skies again. And even Guarda up there, more in a more northerly part of Portugal, 27 degrees tomorrow, the high, 25 degrees the high today. Leiria area today, 25-degree high, 23 tomorrow, cloudless skies. And just finally, let's have a good look at Deby, shall we? 28 degrees today and tomorrow, the high. Slightly cloudy today, but a nice cloudless day tomorrow. How about that? Fantastic weather in Portugal. Who's with us this morning already? Let's have a look. Yes, good morning to you, Eloise, co-host of the Wine Club on Saturday, and we do have a first wine that we've selected, Quinta do Vale wine, a premier wine from the C Campo Corporation. I think they are, one of the big wine producers of Portugal, but a premier selection from Continent, and we will give you the connection to that, the details for getting your own bottle of that to quaff with us. I don't know if that's the right term. Eloise will let me know, but she says, bon dia, Carl and friends. Derek's with us this morning. Derek Taberner, good morning to you, Derek. Great to see you among this illustrious crowd. And Brother Druba is there. He's in Sintra. Good to hear from you, Druba. Veronica, good morning to you. Oh, goodness gracious. The pronunciation police are here. Anna Lucia is here. Good morning to you. I've gone with words about houses and housing and the house today. So casa is fairly straightforward, but maybe I've even got that wrong. Morning, Carl, from Claire and Steve. We're both feeling very happy and positive today due to the warmer weather. It so helps, does it not? And Derek's tuned in because he's Debbie's son. Fantastic. You're very welcome aboard with this crew here. So before we talk to Debbie, let's have a quick look at the obviously the COVID news with what's going on in Portugal as we navigate our way out of this, the worst sort of excesses and controls of the lockdown, and hopefully lifting off the lockdown and living our lives without so many restrictions and more in the way we want to. And as I say here, I'm rather going back to nature than back to normal. I didn't think normal was all it was cracked up to be, quite frankly. But anyway, this is the George Branco's update. You can buy my Tosh de Mista by going to georgebranco.substack.com for this excellent news coverage from the 18th of May, his most recent. Happily reopening stage 2 day, of course. It was the lifting yesterday of many restrictions, not all, of course. The biggest change in stats over the weekend was the absolute skyrocketing number of recoveries. That figure almost doubled from Friday, with more recoveries confirmed than new infections on all 3 days as a result. And there you go. Look, 6,430 people recovered officially, that is, with 1,794 additional reported recoveries. In terms of cases, 29,209 confirmed cases with 173 new cases. That's a 0.6% increase in Portugal. And the death toll, 1,231, 13 new deaths, 1.07 increase percentage in COVID-19 deaths in Portugal. So the curve flattening and that part of things, the mitigation would appear to be paying off according to those figures. So reopening stage 2, what can we expect from today? This was yesterday. If you've been outside today, you've probably already felt the difference. The streets are busier, hopefully not too busy, says George. The schools and creches are open, and in a very limited way, of course. And most obvious of all, there are people sitting down to eat and drink at cafes and restaurants. It's a big change. So Publico has put together a reminder of what's new from today, so you can check that out at Publico. But yeah, restaurants are back, including a 2-meter minimum distance between customers who don't live together and a requirement to wash your hands before eating. Surely everyone did that anyway. Venues will also now be limited to 50% capacity, a restriction Prime Minister Antonio Costa says might be lifted in June if things go well. As far as masks go, the DGS recommendations were a little ambiguous. You don't say, and I think that's a problem for governments all over the world, this ambiguity at the moment. At one point, recommending them only for clients ordering takeaways, and at another point, suggesting they be worn except during the meal period. Try wearing a mask during a meal period. Either way, Publico, Diario de Noticias, and Observador are now all suggesting you wear a mask except while dining. Shops up to 400 square meters can reopen so long as they're not in shopping centres, and you'll still have to wear a mask to go inside. Publico reports some museums, monuments and palaces, including the fabulous Gulbenkian. If you haven't been there, go to the Gulbenkian Museum in Lisbon. It's absolutely brilliant. And the National Museum of Contemporary Art. They opened yesterday, as we reported to you yesterday. Other changes include the reopening of caravan parks and sporting fields for football, rugby and similar sports, but only professional athletes will be allowed to use them. The rest of us are limited to individual open-air sports. Arguably, we need it more than the athletes do, don't we? But anyway, recreational boating lessons can also start again if you were having those. Students in years 11 and 12, subject to national exams, are back at school physically and must wear masks or face shields. Can you imagine what that's like in a classroom with all your colleagues wearing masks or even those plastic visors? Right. More importantly, the beach. It's hot. Can I go to the beach? The final details of the government's summer beach plan weren't released until after. I'd sent Friday's newsletter. This is George speaking, not me. So I'll share them now. The date you're all looking for is June the 6th, says Publico. Anyway, that's when the beaches will reopen with a traffic light system to indicate how full they are and a corresponding app called Info Praia. Praia there, a bit of vocabulary for you is beach. And I think everyone knows that. Everyone knows the vocabulary they want to know and they find pleasurable, right? So Info Praia is the app for the beach, which is already available to download. While there won't be absolute limits, you must leave 1.5 meters between groups and 3 meters between umbrellas. And the government has warned it will close them again if the system is abused. Can you imagine what that would be like if people take advantage of that situation and an authority of some sort, the police or the army, are called to clear a beach? It's going to be like the Modern Rockers on Brighton Beach again. Now, I'm sorry if I'm not being very kind of factual and unopinionated about this, but we're getting to a stage of this where it is a little bit farcical, I think, and it's okay to inject a little bit of humor or questioning or whatever. But that's what we're doing here. I guess if you don't like that, it's probably better to stick to a safer and more factual news source like Safe Communities Portugal. Craig Morfitt, George here, just you can read that. But I think we could start talking about this and how bonkers some of it might be. The Prime Minister admitted nightlife will be among the last parts of the country to reopen. Boo! Warning it might not return this summer if necessary. Goodness gracious. Costa said bars and nightclubs were still not on the government's reopening timetable given the closeness in interaction they naturally encouraged. Matron. And just fast forwarding, if the establishments don't open this year, what will people do? Fonseca asked. This is Antonio Fonseca, the president of the Association of Bars in the historic zone of Porto. Obviously very worried. All those people in hospitality thinking, what on earth are we going to do to make a living? And they're going to miss the tourist season, aren't they? A similar organisation representing the country's south couldn't see how keeping the sector closed during the summer could be viable. That's grim, isn't it? So in brief, measuring workers' temperatures violates European law. This is all the interesting stuff, isn't it, about the balance of public health and the freedoms of individuals. Almost half of doctors with symptoms or contact with an infected patient weren't tested. and Prime Minister. We won't be where we were in 2019 before 2022. That's cheerful, but that's probably true as well. So you've got to make other arrangements, haven't you, folks? So let's give an antidote to that in a classic news style. On a lighter note, I avoided sharing this clip with you earlier as I didn't want to poke fun at these two Portuguese teachers just trying to do their job with the added pressure of a national TV audience. But now it's an international meme, so a few more views can't really hurt. And if you go to I better scroll up and take that naughty word out of the picture. But I think there's a couple of Portuguese teachers having a bit of fun and being the cause of the cause of such of national merriment, possibly ridiculed by the sound of what George is saying there. One more thing to show you before we do go to Deb's in she's got two versions of her camera I can see in the green room and enjoying a nice cup of coffee, I think, before she joins us. Casa is correct. I've got the approval, the thumbs up from Ana Lucia there, the pronunciation police. Gloria Clegg saying hi, wish we could. Alcohol ban in South Africa, missing Portugal so much. We're missing you, Gloria, but it's glad we can hook up with this way. And Gary Austin, pastel de nata and coffee. Now, Gary was saying what I wouldn't do to actually listen to somebody even drinking a coffee and eating a pastel de nata. So we could do that as a podcast. We could do someone with a sexy voice eating a pastel de nata in a provocative kind of what's her name? That voluptuous chef. I was thinking we could have Filipa Gomes. That's her. If we could get Filipa Gomes eating a pastel de nata provocatively while sipping and slurping coffee, that would be a winner, wouldn't it? I think that would boost up the donations for Good Morning Portugal with our Support Us with Seeds initiative. Anyway, one more picture to show you. Really awesome shot of our president in the supermarket. And now we don't know for sure if it is him, but I want to show you this picture to see if you think it is or not. And this has been doing the rounds recently. It's not massive on the screen, I'm afraid. Let me just see if I can blow that up a bit. Look, the man allegedly there, and I'll take your message down so we don't have a confusion with with that, Gary. But look, this is President Marcelo at the supermarket. Looks like he's got his boxer shorts on. But this is style, isn't it? This is a president who has a matching set of shorts and mask. And my question to you is, what do you think is in the basket there of our esteemed president? What would such a distinguished man have in his shopping basket, who is humbly going to the supermarket with matching mask and boxer shorts or shorts? Any road up. Let us now go to Debs, who is sat in glorious sunshine. Debs, good morning to you.
Bon dia, Carl.
Hola, bon dia.
Bon dia to everybody who is listening today.
It's so lovely to have you here, and you know, it's a slightly I suppose not awkward is the right word, but you know, sobering to talk about the experience you've had. But when we've talked before, you've put this from the point of view of like it's quite good for people to know that it doesn't always work out quite as you would want it to be positively, and you have to deal with some harsh practicalities sometimes when you're away from home and in quite a difficult situation. What happened with you, Debs? Could you let everyone know?
Well, in July last year, my husband suddenly died. Your whole world falls apart. So you're in a foreign country, you're alone, and you think, what am I going to do? How am I going to arrange the funeral? And you have to grab the bull by the horns, even though you're going through all this grief and shock. So I found difficulty, and that was because of the language barrier. It's a lot different here than it is in England. So you have to go through it step by step. And obviously, the hardest thing I found was he had to have a second autopsy. And because there is only one place in Portugal that actually performs it, having had the funeral, I waited till February the 14th this year to find out how he actually died. Wow. There was nothing I could have done or anybody could have done. He had a major heart attack without any symptoms. So you find yourself alone. And thanks to you talking to me early on in the year, you helped me summon people up, new friends, people who came to help me, you know, especially when I was going through all this grief and the flood that I experienced 3 days before Christmas, where my home was almost completely destroyed. So I feel now I'm in a positive place. I'm going to make Portugal my permanent home because I fell in love with Portugal on my honeymoon. And only just being married to Michael less than 2 years before his death, obviously, I have to keep this legacy alive.
Absolutely. And there's a picture of you with Michael there. And that must have been just so awful. Obviously, with the culture and the language difficulty, you know, which is not a criticism, is it? It's just like you're away from what you're familiar with, but you are in really unfamiliar and difficult circumstances, and you had to deal with all that. And then the really long time waiting to find out what happened. I recall as well a moment where you obviously have to go and give statements, and then it's difficult not to feel like a kind of suspect almost, isn't it? In a way, I remember that conversation that we had, and that must have been awful for you.
Yeah, I mean, normal procedure is for them, the Garda or the police, to come and say, can we have a chat with you? We want to know the surroundings of what happened at the time. But it was several months later. I knock on the door at 7:30 at night. Can you come to the police station? You know?
Yeah.
And it was quite shocking.
I bet.
Because here, it's like they have to rule out foul play, murder, things like that first. And, you know, it shocks me.
Yeah.
And if it happened to anybody else, you know, I feel now, having gone through all of this process, that I'm able to help other people who are here that happen to experience this.
Yeah.
And I think I might set up a small support group so that they can contact me and go through the procedures, because I'm sure that would help them. Yeah. Because I have nobody.
Yeah, I get it. And it's amazing that you want to do that. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, like you said, 3 days before Christmas, your home is devastated by a flood. Now, which part of Portugal are you in? And was that completely unexpected? What happened there?
Well, we had some heavy rain and the riverbank burst. And basically, I was outside the gate helping a neighbour with some candles because the electricity had gone down. And I turned round and I saw this tsunami come round. And by the time I got to the steps at the decking, it was up to my waist. And I ran in and picked up what I could, electrical. And within 2 minutes, from the back of the caravan, where the vents were in the floor, it filled up by a foot.
Oh.
I had some pussycats that I had to take to dry land and go through the water. And we came the next morning, the waters had receded, but the devastation was unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I just stepped through a few pictures there. I don't know if you were able to see them from your phone, but the pictures are grim, aren't they? About, you know, the level of damage that was caused. And that was the end to your 2019. And a Christmas that you really wouldn't want to look forward to. So presumably you spent the whole Christmas and New Year period just like dealing with the devastation.
Well, it started from Boxing Day
Yeah.
and it's taken all this time to actually put things back to normal.
Yeah.
Working most days. Um, I was so kind with friends that helped me. I have a friend in the village who gave me her house for Christmas, and
Fantastic.
it was just amazing. The people that came to help, strangers, even clear sheds, just move things around to help me sort things out. But that was down to you, Carl, because people came to my rescue, and
Oh,
I thank
fantastic.
them dearly.
Yeah. Well, the shout out to anyone who chipped in and helped out. And it was, I suppose it was a little bit of a foretaste, wasn't it, of what was coming with the pandemic and how people kind of muck in with each other and help out. And obviously you had a taste of it then, kind of blitz spirit. And now maybe, I don't know, in some strange way, the lockdown might have worked for you because you're able to focus on making the house beautiful again, which is what you've done.
Exactly. Exactly. I think in a way, because I'm a spiritual person, I look at it as a mass cleansing for me when
Wow.
the flood happened, because I had to deal with a lot of my kids' clothes and stuff that
Yeah.
was in the back room, and I just couldn't quite get myself to go and sort it. So I had no option
You had
but
to do it.
to.
Wow. And now you're turning this. I mean, not only are you wanting to help people who are bereaved and away from home and in unfamiliar territory, but it sounds like you're turning the whole experience, as you've just kind of reported on it there, into a book and a sort of a recollection, reflection on what you've been through and the kind of significance of it in the book Determined Destiny.
Well, the book I started a few years ago about my life. Um, I want to inspire people because nobody has a perfect life, and I certainly haven't in my 56 years. But I've had a lot of good things happen to me, becoming a politician and helping people in England. But I want to inspire them to say that, hey, we go through these things in life and we have to cope with them in some way. We don't need to turn to the bottle. We don't need to become a drug addict. We just have to gather strength and courage to move forward.
Amazing.
So
And when might the book be coming out, Debs?
I have a couple of publishers interested in it. I think what you have to realize about writing a book, I'm not a typical 9 till 5 sit down at a computer and write. I'm an emotive writer, a lot of emotion in it, a lot of detail, and you have to relive certain aspects in your life.
Yes.
So obviously, the the ending of the book would simply be how I picked myself up after this last couple of tragedies and move forward with my life, because life is for living, and I am not going to stop living because of these things that happened to me.
Amazing.
And I want to explore Portugal and be more permanent and help and deal with matters that are thrown at me.
Yeah. I think it's clear there's such a tale of woes for Deby. It's great to listen to how positive she is and sounds. Congratulations and well done to all and her helpers there. So thank you for that, Claire and Steve. It is an amazing story, and it is kind of, I don't know, the word I used before was sobering, but I guess, we are just thinking on the upside, aren't we, in the positive side, when we're starting life in a new country, and then inevitably, as you quite rightly point out, like, shit happens, doesn't it? And you find out what you're made of and who your friends are and all that sort of thing. And it's kind of worth considering that from time to time. Excuse me. Lovely to talk to you. Could we have a little bit of a tour of what you've done there? Because I know you sent me a video. Wouldn't that be
give
great?
you a tour.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Say where you were. Which bit
I have made myself an oasis in here. It's a spiritual room, if you can see it, an extension.
Nice. Yeah.
And I've got my fire pit and my kitchen's being made now. And then I've got another part of the decking and a bar. I've made myself a bar.
Yeah, of course.
The garden has recovered quite remarkably. The water didn't damage the plants. They've gone mad.
Brilliant.
You
They
know.
they cope better than we do, don't they? It's an oasis.
And then I've built myself a patio to keep out of the sun.
That is fabulous. Debs, which
And
bit
I've got vegetables growing around the back as well. And yeah, I'm trying my best.
All right.
But I'm going to enjoy all of this.
You should. You deserve to. And I keep trying to ask you which bit of Portugal it is because I forgot.
Okay, it's in Castelo Branco.
Oh, brilliant.
It's just outside Alcanes.
Fantastic. Lovely part. You've got some good weather coming tomorrow. 29 degrees, I think.
I know.
Nice message from Derek there. Looks great, Mum. Looking forward to visiting. And
bless him.
Kiss and love from the UK there. Fantastic. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Carl.
Debs, thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
You're welcome anytime on the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Do keep in touch with what's going on. And all the best to you. Yeah, lots of love to you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye. Take care. Wow. So there's Deb's Castelo Branco area, Alcange, and really difficult year, terrible year. And it looks like she's turned the corner. And not only that, but sort of turning it into help for other people and a book as well. Fantastic. A final note, I was asking, what did you think was in the president's shopping basket? And look, Steve's saying, I think the president had a trolley full of pastel de natas just to wine carry up. I imagine that's mission accomplished. So thank you very much indeed. Just quickly to say, tomorrow we'll be joined by the some new friends, the people who from Follow the Yellow Brick Road, who you can find on Facebook, who are telling us now is the time to buy a place in Portugal, and they are property developers. So they would say that, but they're right. I think they're right as well. They've got some lovely properties around the Mortágua area. They're going to be talking about their adventure. And I'm going to be asking them, about some of the nitty gritty of property development in Portugal and learning a bit more about that area. And obviously, there's always a story, as we discovered there with Debs. There's always a story behind the adventure. And so, follow the Yellow Brick Road tomorrow. Thursday sees the return of Lyndon Forster, our permaculturist, who will be talking about tree guilds, which is how you plant trees together in a kind of symbiotic relationship. That's it. Even with some mushroom plugs in the lower canopy there. I think he's going to be talking about planting shiitake mushrooms in the lower canopy of a tree guild. So I'm really looking forward to that, talking about permaculture. And then on Friday, the return of Shimajito will be here. Talking about the future of farming. And for me, how I frame that is it's like the power of mushrooms to change the world. And me, I'm a fun guy. Sorry. What area are you based in, Carl? Oh, no, before I go there, before I tell you about my area, Saturday, of course, Eloise will be co-hosting the inaugural session of the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Really looking forward to that. I meant to bring the bottle up, but details of that on the Happy Homesteaders group in the Good Morning Portugal Facebook page and our coffee.com, ko-fi.com/Carl Munson is where you will find us and all the shows. And of course, you can help us if you want to support us with some seeds. You can make a little donation there and support us in that way. But that's where I'll be posting up a lot of info about the wine as well. And Eloise's protocols and etiquette for wine tasting and what you'll need. A tall tulip-shaped glass, apparently, piece of paper, and maybe even start a wine journal. Get a nice little, book to write your findings down in. So really looking forward to that 9 o'clock on Saturday, this coming Saturday, 23rd. And yes, which area am I in? I'm in a place called Korea, not Korea as in North and South Korea, but Korea in between really Aveiro in the north, Coimbra to the south. We are in the middle of a refurbishment of a 15-bedroom former pension, which is on the market as well, up for sale. And it's just one of the, I suppose it's one of the iterations of the Good Morning Portugal enterprise, is that I'm involved in a little bit of property improvement. And the owners of the pension here, former pension, want to sell it on. It's a cracking building in a cracking town. Incredible. Obviously very affected at the moment because it's based on tourism. It goes back to the Belle Epoque era, just Korea, where we have the Korea Palace Hotel, which is absolutely brilliant. You have to visit. It's another part of Portugal's best kept secrets. It's a fabulous place. The Termas Hotel as well. The curative waters here. Lovely town, lovely place where we live. And so I hope that answers your question, Ana Lucia. And thank you for everything, Carl. Pleasure talking to you, as it was to you, Debbie Doos. We will talk to you again, I hope, when the book gets published. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow when we follow the yellow brick road and talk about Mortágua and developing property in Portugal. Take care. Bye for now. Hasta luego. Até amanhã. Oh, casa was house. Actually, yeah. And I haven't done my vocabulary very quickly. Casa, habitación is housing, habitation, and domicilio, domicile, residence. So, and edificio is a building, and my favorite of the house-related words is familia, which is like your household. Isn't that nice? Your familia. So, fica en casa, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care, and bye for now.